What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another My Name Toys video. Today we're back with a brand new AEW Unrivaled action figure review, and it is a highly anticipated one. We have the AEW Unrivaled Ringside exclusive Danhausen figure. Now this is a figure for me that was highly anticipated, probably my most anticipated AEW figure of the year, if not wrestling figure in general. If you guys were unaware, I'm a big Danhausen guy. I love Danhausen. I love the character. I love everything about him here. I think that he is brilliant. He's always got me cracking up, and I think he's very talented here. So here is the figure mint on card. It's pretty big here. It's bigger than my hand. I mean, I would say that this is probably 12 inches tall if I had to guess. But you do have very nice here, very evil. Got Danhausen there. He's got his arms stretched out for the cape. At the bottom, it does have Danhausen. But of course, it does have the Velcro flap. So if you open this up, you guys can see he outstretches his arm. You have the cape coming down, and then you do have the figure inside here. Now, you know AEW and Jazzwares always knock out their packaging. The figure looks really brilliant. AEW logo down here, but he's got interchangeable heads. He's got his cloth cape in there. We will, of course, dive into all of his accessories. However, man, on the side, we do have Danhausen here. Very nice, very evil. It's got the white spiral, and then it says AEW. Got Danhausen's face poking out down here, which looks really good. And then on the back, you do have a shot of Danhausen. Danhausen back here. Danhausen here. He's cursing us, and then it does say, or be cursed. Danhausen, ringside exclusive AEW, and then on the side, it does have Danhausen there. And on the top, it does have Danhausen again, and it does have the viewing window through the top. But with all that being said, man, let's shut the hell up and dive into the Danhausen ringside exclusive AEW Unrivaled figure, crack him out of the packaging, and find out if he is indeed very nice and very evil and a very good figure. So here's the very nice, very evil, ringside exclusive AEW Unrivaled Danhausen out of his packaging, man. Really enjoying the figure. However, this is my review, and we're going to break down all the things I love about the figure, all the things I don't like about the figure, and of course, we're going to dive into all those things, man. But if you already like what you see, you like this figure, you like the packaging, you want your own Danhausen, go over to Ringside Collectibles, use promo code MDTOYS to save yourselves 10%. Always greatly appreciate that, man. Anytime you use the code, shout it out on Instagram, tag me in it, and I will repost it on my story. But I'm so damn excited to finally have a Danhausen figure, man. I mean, I can't even breathe right now. This is amazing. I cannot wait to dive into it, man. But what we're going to do first is dive into the accessories that you get with this Danhausen figure, and then we're going to run it back and take a closer look at the Danhausen figure itself. Alright, man, so diving into the accessories that you get with your ringside exclusive Danhausen figure, we get 3 interchangeable head sculpts, a cloth cape with bendy wire, which I can't wait to dive into, and 3 pairs of interchangeable hands. So starting out with our first head sculpt, man, here is the wide-eyed, wide-mouthed head sculpt here, and I think the paint apps look really good here. I mean, like the black going all the way around. They even have the black over the ears, over the front of the hair here. The white looks really good. I think the eyes are painted clean or printed on there clean. Mouth wide open there. I think this looks pretty damn good. I like it a lot. Kind of like a stunned face. I mean, just memeable material right here. This looks really good though. I think all the face paint and everything looks really, really clean. Great job on the paint work here. Even though I will say, I feel like these lines at the bottom aren't completely accurate. I think they're supposed to be more like thin like this, unless this is a specific look, you know what I mean? But maybe he has had like the triangles before, or maybe like his other figures are going to represent the like thinner lines that we've seen in the past, but I don't know, we'll see. Now this is our cursed head sculpt. You are cursed. You guys can see like his lips kind of puckered there on the left side, and then he's got like the more wide-eyed, and then he's got kind of the squinty eye right here. I don't think it's perfect by any stretch, but I still think it looks good. I really wish we got a smiling head sculpt with this figure, but all the paint apps look good. I think the white came out clean, the red, the black, the white, and then we have this head sculpt over here with the hair kind of matted, and then it's kind of like a blank stare, but his mouth's kind of open. It's kind of just like just an eerie head sculpt here. But all 3 head sculpts are very similar, especially the middle one and the right one. And I really wish we got a smiling head sculpt, you know, like his hair kind of like neater and then like just having that big smile. So hopefully we'll get that from our Danhausen. But all 3 of these look good. I'm glad to have these. The paint apps I'm noticing on this one are a little bit different, like with the red color, but the hair is kind of, you know, matted and everything like that. Dude, these are great though. They look really good. I'm not complaining. I think they look really great. And I think this middle one, my eyes may be a little bit misprinted, but we're getting so many damn Danhausens that I think it's going to be okay, man. So I also plan on making like some, I'm not even going to tell you that. Never mind. Just know custom Danhausens might be a thing. We'll see. And then the next accessory is one of the big selling points here, man. We have this cloth cape, and on the back it does say very nice, very evil. You have Danhausen's face. See, this is the head sculpt I would have liked to see. The big smiley head sculpt with the wide eyes. Like, I think that would have been really cool. But again, maybe that'll come. But we do have a bendy wire here in the neck, and then we do have a bendy wire down the side here so you can like pose the cape. And then this little tag right here bothers me. It's like a damn bed sheet. sheet or something like that, or a pillow, you know, but bending wire looks good. It does have Velcro on it, so I'm going to show you guys how you can put this on the figure, but damn, this is a nice accessory, man. The shape of it's great. So if you want to put this on the figure here, I'm going to just use the Danhausen body. So how you'll do this is make sure that tag's tucked, and then you will bring the black straps down, and they'll go behind the back, like that, and then you do Velcro this. So you Velcro that behind him, and then you're going to bring this red piece across, and then Velcro it right there. So now, you take your head sculpt, plop this on there, and now you have your Danhausen cape on there. And I think the cape fits the figure pretty good here. It is a little bit tricky to get on there, but once you get it, I think it looks solid. And also, this came with plastic wrap around it, just FYI. These shoulders and arms came with plastic wrap around it, so I don't know if these black straps are going to stain the figure or not, so that is definitely something you want to take note of when you're, you know, talking about this figure, because I don't want your Danhausen figure to get stained, by God. So just be careful with that, but I'm going to go ahead and remove the cape here. And so you don't even have to really unstrap the red side if you don't want to, because you can just leave this red one going, you know, like leave this one on and strapped, and then have the black straps over. I personally leave it like this and just remove the head and then put it on and put the black straps over it, because this red one can get a bit tricky, but that is your cape accessory. And then for your interchangeable hands, we do get a pair of cursed hands, you know, like pointing out and telling you you're cursed, and then you do have the rings on there, so these look pretty good. Pretty good size as well, but we do have our cursed hands. Pretty good sculpt on these. We also have these like Jungle Boy Jack Perry style hand sculpts, like the reaching out or the grabby hands, which I think are also good, you know, for him to do like the Mr. Burns kind of like fingertips touching style pose. Again, the ring on the left ring finger there as well. And then we kind of have like an Unrivaled 4 Matt Hardy style sculpt here, where they're kind of like, you know, just some stylized hands here, which look pretty good as well. And then it also has the ring on there. So they did a really good job on these hands. I like the options we have. No fists or anything, but I'll take it. I'll take the cursed hand. All you really need is some grabby hands. Maybe a mic holding hand would have been cool, and then he does have his cursed hand, so that's really all you can ask for. And actually another accessory that you get is this kind of like spiral background, and it's not really showing up on camera, but it is a holographic style like background. This is how it comes in the packaging, so it's like the insert behind the figure, and it's actually like a nice, like, you know that kind of material kind of reminds me of something you might get at like a freaking fall festival in elementary school or something like that, you know what I mean? Just like one of those like spirally backgrounds. So I think that was pretty cool, and look, it lines up pretty good to give you like a spiral. That's pretty dope, man. I like it. So just wanted to throw that in there so you guys know about it. Alright, man, so getting into the Danhausen figure, starting out at the top of the head sculpt, man, we took a look at this. This is the cursed head sculpt, and I think it fits the figure well and everything like that. I like the way it looks. I did have to put the black background back there so the exposure would be better here, but I think it looks really good. You know, it sits on the head well and all those different things. Going down, we do have his tattoo on his chest. It's like this big demon devil deal with the big wings on there, which look really good as well. I like the torso choice. Maybe it could be a little bit smaller, but I still don't hate it or anything like that. I think they did a good job on it. I do think this is a one of one. I don't think we've seen this torso mold before, but all of his tattoos are on here. All of them look really, really good. He's got his black wrist tape and everything like that. I'm seeing all the tattoos. I don't think he's missing any off the dome. I think Jazzwares does a really good job. Really wish he had pinless joints, but I think, you know, it gets the job done for now. I think his tattoos kind of hide that, though. You know, it doesn't, like, stand out as much to me. There's a shot of the back of the figure. He's got his tattoos going down on the back of the arms. Spider tattoo here. All looking very clean, man. Again, black wrist tape, all of that good stuff going down. Now, what's really cool about this gear is that it is gray. You know, I think we're going to get a lot of Danhausens in black and red, but this having the gray, black and red and white really stands out, I think. It's got, like, the little splotchy pattern. You got the spiral, the teeth on the belt mold there. On the side, it does say very nice Danhausen, and on the other side, it does say very evil. And then you have this nice Danhausen graphic with the red demon eyes. And then on the back, it does have the stripes going down the shin. So see, it's so weird because it has a little cut for the shin cut, but there's no shin cut, man. Why is that a thing? We need shin cut, man. He does have his black boots in there, which look good and everything like that. I think the figure feels fantastic in hand. It's just, where's the damn shin cut? Now, as far as posability, I mean, he can do pretty much everything a regular AEW figure can do. Really good ab crunch. You know, you get the diaphragm moving in there. He could, like, all this is buttery smooth. You know, maybe, like, not as tight as I'd like it to be, but it's not, like, loosey-goosey, you know what I'm saying? I think he gets the job done. Splits, upper thigh cut, no lower shin rotation. Why is that a thing? But he does have boot rotation. Ankles move down enough, and he has a pretty good ankle rocker, I'd say. But all the things that you love about the AEW figures, this one pretty much has that. I think you're going to really enjoy this, especially if you like Danhausen. But let's get into some action figure comparisons when it comes to Danhausen football. So for our first comparison, we do have Hookhausen here. You have the AEW and Match Series 7 Hook up next to the ringside exclusive Danhausen. And these scale pretty decent together, I'd say. I think the Hook figure may be a little bit tall, but I don't think that it's like egregious or anything. I think these scale pretty decent together. You guys can let me know down in the comment section below. You know, Hook's hair is pretty tall, so that may throw it off a little bit, but for the most part, they're almost about the same height, I'd say. But with Hook's hair being all crazy, it does make him, you know, stand out a little bit more there. But this is a cool shot between the Hookhausen figures. And then just for kind of a scale comparison here, you do have the Danhausen Ringside exclusive next to the Supreme Kenny Omega, an Unrivaled Darby, the Ultimate Edition Seth Rollins, and then the Unmatched Dustin Rhodes. Just to kind of give you a scale across the board, he fits kind of in the middle of all of these figures here. So he's shorter than Kenny, he's a little bit taller than Darby, a little bit shorter than Seth Rollins. I think this does fit pretty well in terms of scaling. I don't think he's oversized or anything like that, which is a really good sign. So that's always nice to see with Danhausen. And then for my WWE Elite Danhausen comparison, here is my custom Elite Danhausen that I was working on that looks pretty good, I think. I think the height and everything was working great. And they look like they scale pretty well. The head sculpt, however, fell off in a box because it wasn't completely modded, and I cannot find the damn head sculpt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop one of these head sculpts on here and just kind of see what that looks like. And it doesn't pop all the way on, I don't think. Actually, yes, it does. Alright, so there's my custom WWE Elite Danhausen with a ringside exclusive head sculpt on there, and I think that looks pretty damn good right there. And these scale pretty nice. I mean, the AEW one is a tad taller, a little bit bigger than this one, but I still like it. I think it gets the job done. And then a huge shout out to my man Nick Storm, man. Huge shout out to my man Nick Storm and his girl for this cape right here, because they made this for me when they found out that I was trying to make a custom Danhausen, and so they sent this over to me. So now I'm going to put this cape on the ringside exclusive and see what this looks like. Now, this was kind of my plan the whole time, because now, look at this. Now I have this custom cape for my ringside exclusive. So now I can take my ringside exclusive cape, this one right here that we have, and I can put that on one of the ones that come with a rubber cape. So how about those apples, Bradley? A huge shout out to Nick Storm for the great cape, and now it's going to look good on my Danhausen. But man, I can't even believe I have this Danhausen, man. I'm so excited. I got to pose this guy around, put him in a football ring, you know? Oh my lord. About that damn time, Brad. But I think that pretty much wraps up our AEW Unrivaled ringside exclusive, very nice, very evil Danhausen action figure review, man. This figure is certainly awesome. I love this figure. I think it's fantastic. I cannot wait. I mean, I've been telling people, if you've talked to me in the DMs, I'm probably mentioning the damn Danhausen figure, man. I mean, I've just been waiting on this figure for so long, and I'm so glad to finally have it. Now, the figure is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I think for our first Danhausen figure, it's very nice and very evil. No, but seriously, though, the cape is awesome. I love the bendy wire in there. I've been begging companies to do that for a very long time. I think the packaging's awesome. I think the head sculpts are awesome. I wish there was like a little bit better differences. Like, I wish you could tell the differences better. I'd like to see like a wide, like, smiling face. I think that some of the head sculpts could be better in just terms of execution and things like that. But the paint apps are nice. The biggest con for me is going to be the shin cut. Not having shin cut on a figure in 2023 is just absurd. Especially when it's a guy like Danhausen, man. We're going to want to pose this guy around. We're going to want to get him in the ring. We're going to want to do all the different things with the Danhausen, man. So not having that lower shin cut, you guys know how I feel about that. That's one of my, like, number one things. And it looks like there's shin cut. Like, there's a little cut there, but it's not cut. So I don't know what the deal is there. I'm going to have to talk to Jazzwares about that one. But this figure is amazing. I'm so happy to finally have Danhausen in the collection. I know my brother is going to be very excited for this figure and review as well. So huge shout out to Brad there. People really think his name's Brad. Isn't that hilarious? Nonetheless, man, if you guys want this figure, go over to Ringside Collectibles. Use code MD Toys. But I would absolutely put this figure over. I love Danhausen, though. I think it looks awesome. My only cons are the things that I mentioned in this video. But I think this figure is worth the grab. And I'm sure this figure's on back order. So you're probably going to have to put in another pre-order and wait. But this figure kicks all the asses. I'm very excited for it. And where will he land in our top 10 countdown if he even makes the top 10? Even if he makes the top 10 countdown at all, we will have to see at the end of the year, man. But that is going to wrap this video up. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Before we get out of here, a huge shout out to our MDT patrons. Huge shout out to those guys. Those guys are the absolute best. Always appreciate their continued support of the channel. Thank you guys so very much. Love you all. If you guys are interested in that, click the link in the description below. But that is going to wrap up the Danhausen figure review, man. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at MyDamnToys. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed one, and I'll catch you later.